The movie begins as Will Parker dreams of seeing Gretchen standing on the bank of the river, staring at him, but gets woken up by the knocks on his door, bringing him back to reality. Immediately, he hid the syringe and Z substance on his table and went to his doorknob, and saw Johnny outside. After he opens the door, he talks to Johnny, who enters with Mitchell, and Johnny asks about his payment for the Z that he purchased. Will gives him the money, and Johnny realizes it is not complete, but Will explains himself and tells him he can't sleep without Z and will make sure he pays him. Johnny then gives him the Z drug and pours hot coffee on him purposely, and threatens him. Johnny then tells Michelle to patch him up and meet him outside. After he leaves the room, Michelle helps Will to bandage his hand, and he engages her in a conversation. She tells him she doesn't date Z addicts like him and she is tired of spending time with Johnny. Will then tells her he is not an addict and needs the drug to sleep, after which she leaves him when they are done. As soon as they leave, Will takes his system and records himself and gives updates about the way he has been feeling after taking the Z drug. He also tells about his dreams and tells them to comment. After he is done, he checks out his window and sees a car but shrugs it off. Michelle, on the phone, then talks to someone about Will and tells him he is not an addict like the rest of them. Later that day, he injects himself with Z, and he starts getting a flashback of his childhood. In the dream, he sees himself and Gretchen, who were kids, are now grown-ups, and they have a conversation about their father and how Will hates riding a boat. After this, he also sees himself making out with Mitchell but gets interrupted and, in the process, sees the announcement on the news of a 7-year-old missing Emily Harper. But soon wakes up after hearing knocks on his door. After waking up that day, he starts pacing up his room, worried about the drug, and browse on it. He also calls Johnny, the supplier, to inquire about the drug. After this, he meets the girls across his window and asks for their parents. But the lady tells him she's Chloe and just a babysitter, and the girl she is watching is Emily. He remembers his dream and sees the missing girl's name is Emily. Unable to get a definite answer from Johnny about the drug Z, he contacts Michelle and asks her to take him to the supplier. After the meeting, Michelle explains that she isn't sure who the person is, but she just saw his name on Johnny's phone. On their way to meet supplier, Michelle and Will have a conversation about Will not being truthful to her. They soon arrive at Jay's place with the help of GPS directions. Jay opens his door, and they introduce themselves as friends of Johnny. He asks them about their journey and makes them sign an agreement before he attends to them. Will then tells him about his dream about how it feels real sometimes, and Jay tells him the Z substance allows him to time travel for people whose mind is more vital. So if Will sees any memory, it will happen, and no one can change the future. After the explanation with Jay, Michelle tells him he can't change it and that he should allow it to happen, but Will is not pleased with it. Soon after, they ask Jay if they can sleep at his place for the night, and Jay allows them, which will allow Jay to experiment on him with the machine after administering Z to him on September 1st. Will then sleeps and sees a memory of him and his sister Gretchen discussing together. During their discussion, she receives a call from her boyfriend, David, and they talk. After the call, Gretchen gives him a drug for them to get high on, and they take it. Immediately after Will takes the drug, he wakes up to another memory where a woman interrogates him on Emily Harwell's disappearance. Will tells her they are their neighbors, and he still sees the girl in the afternoon. The woman then informs him the girl was kidnapped last night. Will finds out he is their suspect as he is then shown photographs found in his room. He tells the woman he is innocent. Soon after, he experiences another memory where he finds himself in front of a man's car, and he apologizes to him that he is just sleepwalking after the man asks about his well-being. The day now September 2nd, he enters his apartment and hears a knock on his door. He opens the door for Michelle, and she accuses him of leaving her behind at Jay's place, where Jay is nowhere to be found. He apologizes to her and explains that he cannot stop what is happening. Michelle asks him what is wrong with him and where he goes whenever he sleeps. Confused about himself, he tells Michelle to tell Johnny to bail him out if, by the next day, they can't find him. Michelle tells him before leaving that she doesn't think he did it. Will then get angry and record him and upload a video to his viral support group. He tell them that he has been experimenting on other drugs and also say Mitchell doesn't know anything about him. After uploading the video, he injects Z, waking up to Gretch calling out his name. She tells him to call Johnny to bring more drugs. Will then calls Johnny, but on the phone, Johnny tells him there is another drug, not the one they requested, and he tells him to bring it like that. He lies on the floor after hanging up and awake to another memory of himself and Gretchen. Will asks Gretchen if David knows about her taking the drugs, but she tells him David will figure it out. While injecting herself, Gretchen then asks Will if he will come to the party, and he promises to come. After she is done, Will injects himself, and they both get high. Not long after, David arrives and sees both of them high and tries to wake Gretchen up and asks Will what he has done. He tells Gretchen he will call an ambulance, but she says no. Soon he wakes up back finding himself in the interrogation room and trying to explain to Antonia how he time travels when he sleeps, and even though to her he has experienced the event but he has not experienced the event in real life. Not listening to what he has to say, Antonia tells him they have enough to convict him and shows him the pictures found in his apartment and the evidence they find in the sedan car. Will hears this and tells her he does not drive the car and someone is setting him up, and the people might be the ones they are looking for, and he didn't kill Emily. Antonia tells him they found something else and shows him Michelle's case file, and tells him they also see his video. Surprised, he asks for the video. Antonia tells him no one believes him about his time travel, and he watches the video. In the video, now September 3rd, he confesses to killing Mitchell and Emily Haswell. He tells them good luck finding the body. Will immediately ask Antonia what the date is and finds out the drug took him 2 days ahead of time. In the process, Antonia tells him to face reality and that he is not in a dream. Knowing what is going on, Will tells Antonia he will confess his crimes and gives the location of the bodies if she plays the rest of the video. Immediately after she plays it, Will gets taken back to the present. After waking up, he searches for drug Z and soon hears a knock at the door. He checks out and sees Michelle outside the door again. She tells him she can't stay with Johnny and he is the only one she can talk to. Will then tries as much as possible to get her to leave his house, but she refuses. After making herself at home, she narrates some of her life histories to Will, and soon they make out. While making out, Will hears the news about Emily's kidnapping on the news and soon hears a knock on his door. Mitchell then opens the door, and he gets taken into custody for questioning, but before leaving, he tells Mitchell to stay away from him. During interrogation, Will tells Antonia he has been there before and the room looks like family's. She asks him if he is high and says Chole was injected too. Will then requests a phone call, and he calls Jay. He tells Jay he can change the future, but Jay tells him to stay true to it. After the call, he calls Antonia by her name, and she asks him how he knows her name. He then tries to bargain his way out, but Antonia tells him since he won't talk, maybe Michelle will, and she leaves. The next day Antonia releases Will and tells him they are still trying to locate the scientist, and he should be. Thankfully, Michelle is cooperative and wishes him good luck for sleeping without the drug since they took it, and will be running tests on it to see if it matches with Chloe. After his release, he tries Johnny's cell and leaves a message for Mitchell but hears a car sound, and it turns out to be Johnny. Johnny tells him he is on his way to bail him out, and he tells him Mitchell sent him to bail him out. He asks about Michelle and fights with him. After this, he begs Johnny to call his supplier as he needs Z, so he figures out himself. Johnny then calls and finds out about the call he missed from Will before. Soon both of them start to fight, and Will then thinks Johnny is the one who killed Mitchell. But Johnny tells him he doesn't know what he is talking about and tells him they both fit each other since she is also an addict like him and point a gun at him. Amid their truffle, Johnny gets run over by the red sedan car, and the suspect runs away. Seeing this, Will takes the vehicle and tries to find the suspect but loses him, and remembers his fingerprints that were found in the same car. Soon after, he goes home and meets Michelle at home and accuses her of raiding him out to the police, but she tells him she didn't do anything wrong. He tells her Johnny is dead and asks her why he lied to her about not being an addict. But Mitchell tells him she is not hooked on a drug like him but a medication. During the process, Will sees a photograph of him and Gretchen and asks if Michelle has entered his room. She asks him about who David is, and while still trying to answer her, he gets knocked out by David. Later on, he wakes up and finds Michelle gone and also gets flashbacks of his moment with Gretchen and cries. He sees the photograph on the table and leaves the house. Now on the road, he slaps himself to keep him awake and soon arrives at David's place. Will then sees Mitchell tied on the chair and Emily and asks if she is okay. He finds out Danny has drugged Emily with Z and that David thinks he has moved on with Michelle after killing Gretchen. Will then tells him he has not moved on and Mitchell and Emily Haswell have nothing to do with him, but David disagrees with him and tells him he is lying. David accuses him of lying to Gretchen and him, Michelle and Emily, and how can he do that to his baby sister Gretchen now that he has no right to care about anybody, not Michelle or Emily. But in Will's defense, he tells him that he still hasn't gotten over Gretchen as he sees her every time he closes his eyes and that Emily and Michelle doesn't mean anything to him since he doesn't even know them. David soon shuts him up and points a gun at him, and tells him to sit down. After sitting, David points out that Emily looked like Gretchen when they were still young, but Will tells him he is not well. David accuses Will of murdering Gretchen. He tells him to choose how he will kill the three of them after he records himself and admits to killing Michelle and Emily. Unable to save anyone, He records himself and admits to killing them. After that, we'll tell David to kill him first since he was the one who killed Gretchen. In the process, Michelle headbutts David, and will get the gun. He tells David to untie them, and in the process, will experience pain and memories flashbacks and drops the gun. He later wakes up and finds himself in the past, but soon finds himself in the present at Jay's place, but Jay does not recognize him. He shows him the agreement form he signed before and finds out that Jay has also used Z and experienced the same symptoms. He then tries to convince Jay to help him save both Emily and Mitchell in the future, and eventually, Jay agrees. On their way out, he asks him to trust him and opens his garage, and will seize the red sedan car. Will then finds out Jay has been the one tracing him with the car, and Jay tells him he didn't have any choice, so he has to watch his progress. They eventually go to Emily's house, but Will doesn't meet her. He soon experiences a flashback to the present and finds himself in his room, and tries to contact 911 before he gets taken back to the future. Will soon wakes up and finds himself at David's place again. He then rushes out to the backyard and sees David holding Michelle with a gun on her head. Will asks about Emily immediately since he doesn't see her. David then informs him that Emily is upstairs and she will die soon, and he is scared before thinking Will has died on him. David then deeps Michelle into the river and tries to drown her, but Will charges at him, and they both fall into the river. Jay later fires a shot by shooting but misses from inside the boat he was standing on. Will immediately gets Mitchell out of the water and goes inside to get Emily. Jay then helps Mitchell to the boat, and as soon as Will comes out, he sees David aiming his gun at Jay and shoot him. Immediately Will carries Emily and sets her inside the car, but David catches him before he escapes. Will asks him what he gains from shooting an older man, and he tells him Jay shot at him first. Will then tells him he already called the cops and will soon get arrested, but David informs him that the call was directed to him and nobody is coming to save them and shows him his bulletproof vest. While shocked, he finds out David is a cop, and David starts to beat him and tries to kill him. Mitchell soon comes and saves him by hitting a paddling stick on David's head, and they escape from the place and drive away. On their way, Will hears her sister's voice waking him up. He then sees her on the riverbank and apologizes for not being able to save her and tells her he can save Emily, and he leaves. He soon wakes up and drives to the hospital, and passes out. He wakes up to Michelle by his side, and she tells him Emily will be fine. Later, Antonia visits him and apologizes for accusing him and thanks him for saving Emily. She informs him that David has been taken into custody and Jay will be remembered as a hero when they find his body. After getting discharged, Will and Mitchell sit in a car, and she excuses herself. Will then gets a message from an unknown person that he should check the laptop in his car. He checks and sees the video records of Mitchell, also giving an update on her experiences, and immediately she gets back, he confronts her. She then confesses to knowing Jay before, and she just wanted to save him, and Will finds out Jay is alive too. She then tells him about the event that will happen the next day and asks him if he will help her stop it from happening. He accepts, and she tells him she already knows what he will do tomorrow. The movie ends. Thanks for watching and please subscribe to my YouTube channel.